Hello and welcome to Grammar Bites. In this lesson, we will learn about the structures that we can use to give advice. The first structure we can use to give advice is should or shouldn't. We use it with all subjects, followed by the infinitive form of the verb. Let's see some examples. Matthew is working too much. He should take a day off. Melissa shouldn't buy so many things. To make questions, we switch the location of the subject and should or shouldn't. For example, should he eat less? Shouldn't they read some books? Let's look at this dialogue between John and his colleague. It's Valentine's Day. Did you send your girlfriend anything? No. Should I send her some flowers? Of course. Also, you should take her to a nice restaurant. Don't you think flowers will be enough? No, you shouldn't be stingy on Valentine's Day. Okay. I know I should listen to you. Another structure to use when giving advice is ought to or ought not to. It has a similar meaning to should, and it is used in the same way. We can use it with all subjects, followed by verb 1 form. For example, we ought to finish the project tonight. There's a meeting soon. To make negative sentences, use ought not to. For example, you ought not to leave your sister alone in the park. Remember, ought to is not usually used in question forms. Let's see a dialogue among some colleagues. So, what do you think about my presentation? It's nice, but you ought to use some visuals. Also, you ought to add some jokes, to make it more interesting. Do you think the content is enough? You ought not to make it too long, otherwise it might be boring. We can also use if I were you structure to give advice with an imaginary scenario in mind. As this is a second conditional structure, the rules are the same. The subject is I in both parts of the sentence. For example, if I were you, I would call her and apologize. To make negative sentences, use wouldn't. If I were you, I wouldn't worry so much. It is possible to switch the places of the main clause and the conditional clause. I would spend less if I were you. You have to pay rent. I wouldn't go out tonight if I were you. The exam is tomorrow. Let's look at the dialogue between Jennifer and Sue. Let's grab something to eat. If I were you, I would go to the gate right now. Your flight is in half an hour. Yeah, you're right. Bye, Jennifer. Bye, Sue. Call me as soon as possible. It's a 14-hour flight. I wouldn't expect a call for another day if I were you. We can also use could always plus verb 1 to give advice. Let's see a dialogue between Susan and her tutor. This text is too difficult. I don't know most terms. You could use a dictionary. I tried, but some of them are not in the dictionary. Then you could always ask me for help. Another structure we can use to give advice is had better. We use had better with all subjects, and it is followed by the infinitive form of the verb. For example, she had better wake up, otherwise she will be late for school. It is possible to use the contracted form of had. I'd better turn off the TV and go to bed. To make negative sentences, we use had better not. For example, you had better not miss the last train. Let's look at the dialogue between Sarah and her husband. You look really bad. We had better call the doctor. Don't worry, I think I'm just tired from work. You had better listen to me, Sarah. You have a fever. Seriously, I just need some rest. You had better not insist. Over to you. There's a link below for practice. Have a good day.